Good evening. Welcome back to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton, Geoffrey, and Adam Ross here, as we are all. Oh man,
What's going on?
I don't know. I haven't seen you in about 24 hours. Do you miss me?
With every shot.
You know, that's Greg
That's a
Calman's
Greg
line.
Calman. Yep.
No, it's funny. Our Facebook posts of our travels, and I think it's interesting to say that we off like he gave us heck last year for saying that you and Greg not supposed to admit they actually don't hate each other. And when we're out on the road with the crew, it's a different atmosphere than us in our daily interactions. Let's say we kind of get out there and cheer for each other. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's refreshing, right? And you get to go out and see new people, and there's an energy level that it'd be somewhat like when the World of Outlaws used to come to Ashweekan, right? You go to the show, it's a bigger deal. When we go out to these places, they've watched it on TSN all season, Clinton. The reason they watch it is because the show is going to come to their town. So when you go to these places, they're so excited to see people there, and you can just feel it in the air. So we don't have the stresses. You don't have the stresses that you have at Ashweekan. And then add to that people are pretty pumped up that the series has come to town. So it's a lot of fun.
My video's breaking up, so I'll have to check on that. Spencer, you're right though, Adam. You know, everybody asked me how it was when we went to Newfoundland. I equate it to like the Beatles coming to town. You know, you watch these guys on TV, you see them all the time. So, you know, I think from that side of things, it is a big advantage when the series comes to town to see all these new people, to go to new places, and people who are excited to see them come because it's refreshing and it's only a once-a-year deal.
Yep. And inevitably, it seems to happen in Edmonton more than anywhere. TSN guy, come get a picture with us. All right, yeah, it's all good. So no, it was a good time. It was a good race, good car count. I really like that racetrack. I like both of these Western swing tracks. It's like the field of dreams for stock car racing.
You know, I thought it was a cool little quarter-mile bull ring. It would be kind of like, you know, it had the inside turns of Delaware with a really short type, you know, half the length of Flamborough as far as straightaways goes. It seemed a unique pit area. It was just a great spot. The area where we got to call the race from was super cool. I'm excited to get back. Yeah, a bit of our schedule was Friday night at Ashweekan. Then we flew out Saturday morning, flew back Sunday. We get to be home with our families tomorrow, or no, yesterday and today.
No, yesterday and today, tomorrow.
And then we're back to Saskatoon tomorrow, and then back home Thursday, and then Ashweekan Friday, and then Sabo Saturday. Wow, man, it's tiring just to think about it, but it's exciting. Anyways, I just want to talk about tonight on the docket because we do have some cool topics to discuss and go over. So we'll talk about those. Why don't you deliver the quick wit trivia, and I'll be right back, and give me 2 seconds here.
Yeah, sounds good. Clinton's struggling a little bit with connection tonight, so we love the people that watch the show and who answer the questions in trivia, but there's a real advantage to someone who knows where to find everything on the website. So tonight we've gone a little bit off the grid for our quick wit trivia. Who was the flagman when Ashweekan Speedway opened? Who was the head starter when Ashweekan Speedway opened 25 years ago? So you will not find that on the website, I can assure you of that. But that is tonight's quick wit trivia, and good luck to everybody. And before we go too deep into it, we need to congratulate the Wall of Fame inductees at Ashweekan, and the same. What do they call their event at Merrittville? It was the reunion night, but what do they? Is it the Wall of Fame at Merrittville? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to everybody who was inducted. I know Brian Hallowell at Merrittville, Doug Erskine, Bob Monroe, Corinne Jenny, and Brad Bacher at Ashweekan. Can't remember who else it was at Merrittville.
It was Bill Speece, Robert Mouse Young, and Phyllis Mallory. How about that? You know, Phyllis has been around for our entire career. Great supporters of you and I always had great things to say. I still get to see her a bit because she hangs around with my buddies. And I've been by the campfire a little bit with Phyllis already. Funny, when I was having cell phone trouble a week ago, I saw her at the Penn Center. She was having cell phone trouble too, but I think she's 86 or 87 and
Now,
just been there supporting the family from day one.
that is a great woman in motorsports.
100%. Watch the boys go through it, supported them all. She's still there waxing Jay's car every week and getting ready to go. I mean, Randy was the recent flagman at Merrittville. And yeah, congrats to all of them. What else do we want to talk about? Ashweekend, obviously, we've been having some amazing racing there. A hot story out of there today. Share that post if you can, Spencer. This kind of was a shocker today coming out of Ashweekend. We haven't really got to the bottom of it all, but Ryan Turner walking away from Team Burger Barn, and he's leading all three tours right now: the Knights of Thunder, the Southern Ontario Sprint Tour, and at Ashweekend Speedway, and decided to park it. Adam, I'm not sure what's going on. A devastating blow for the Burger Barn team that Ryan has decided to strut away.
I think there's got to be something big on the horizon. There has to be. And the only reason I think that, I wasn't sure at first, but then Jason's Celeste Hill came on and commented on his post with a very positive and supportive message. So that got me scratching my head a little bit. So
here's the post
all
Ryan
the best.
Turner put out that we woke up to today. Racing community, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. After winning the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals and still leading all 3-point series in Ontario for 360 sprint cars, I've made a very tough decision to step away from Burger Barn Racing. Does not mean I'm done racing for this year. In the future, I'll be looking to get myself to the track in some shape or form. I'd like to thank Jason and Celeste Hill for the last 4.5 years and everything they did for my wife Jen and I. They stuck with us when probably no one else would have, building me into the person and driver I am today. They always provide us with the best. We believe we were really starting to show that. Thanks to my wife Jenna for helping with setup, supporting, and listening and crewing. Wow. Yeah, a wild story out of Ashweek, and that was certainly a shocker no one saw coming today. So we'll keep scratching at that one and see what we can find out as the days go on. But that's a fresh. Anything else you want to add to that, Adam?
No, there really isn't, except to wish him the best of luck, and hopefully we do see him back. And I'm very curious as to what precipitated it, and where things are headed. So
we could speculate a lot. I'd just rather hear it from Ryan. So we'll try and get him on next week if possible, and see what the plans are as we get forward.
While we're talking Ashweekend as well, if anyone wants to talk about the slide jobs the week before, we never got a chance to unwrap that. Josh Hansen and Nick Sheridan. One of them was going to get their very first win. One of them did get their first win. It was I won't say it was a controversial non-call, but it was a very difficult non-call. Like that was almost as coin flippy as you can get for officiating, because I could see it going either way. But pretty cool to see Josh Hansen get his first win. Even cooler to see someone get out of the car and show emotion and play to the crowd and give a really good interview.
Josh is not the kid I expect that from.
No.
So it was good to see that as well. And, that's my advice to these young kids. What do we want to see in victory lane? We want to see you get out, be excited, be quick.
Yeah.
The other thing, that's, if I have a pet peeve in victory lane, it's the guys that sit in their car for 3 minutes while we are trying. Like, we spend 5 to 20 minutes getting you to that peak for you to get out of that car and celebrate, and all the air just comes out of it when you sit in the car for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was so tempted in the past 2 weeks at 2 different points to just go interview second and third, because I knew the driver was there. I knew what we're getting. And I'm like, we're just going to sit here and waste time on TV while they, wipe their brow. So come on, guys, Get out of the car. If there's one thing I want, that's my advice. You should be surfing that car into victory lane.
So I really enjoyed Josh Hansen's victory lane, but this past weekend, I also enjoyed Eric York. He was kind of surprised and relieved, but not subdued, but he wasn't going crazy in victory lane. Darren Dryden, I thought his poise in victory lane, like the way he poses for the crowd, is just what you would expect from someone like Darren Dryden. So people kind of stay true to form. right? I thought it was pretty cool.
We definitely have some great characters, and I would say because we're putting these guys on live stream every week, they're really developing. Like, we have probably the highest ratio of great talkers to any racetrack around at Oshweekend because we've simply been putting the mic in their face for 20 years. And I think, when you come to Oshweekend, at one point you're going to come across one of us who's going to be, looking to speak about you or to you. So it's been some wild racing at Oshweekend. I can't thank the teams enough for coming out and supporting us. I mean, a lot of the tracks are struggling right now in Ontario, and we are certainly not lost on the fact that everybody's coming to Oshweekend. It's amazing. I think we're at 130-ish cars the last few weeks, averaging right around 32 cars in 4 divisions. That's those are good old days numbers. And keep bringing your friends up. We're going to keep building this thing, and I think we're definitely on the right path.
I don't think they are good old days numbers. I don't think good old days ever saw car counts like that. Not in 4 divisions. Name me a track that has 4 marquee divisions, all of which have enough cars for a B main at any point in time. I mean, I'm sure it's happened. Unique. It's happened here.
We needed B mains in every class last week. Usually it's 2 to 3, maybe 1, but wow, all 4 classes need B mains. And kudos to Doug on the timing. We had autograph session, and Dale Callan's last photo was 11:09 from Victory Lane. That's a huge win for us to stop the program for 35 minutes for autograph session and still be done at 11:09 with 4 divisions and 4 B mains. Our guys are hitting it out right now.
Yep. And I think it's worth mentioning, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? On social media, and some of it has been instigated by the media, is some shit talking about the sport. Like, for what? For what? Like, just winding people up, opening the door for them to talk shit about the people who are racing and supporting racing. And it drove me nuts. Like, I even messaged you at one point last week, like, I gotta stop. I gotta put my phone down and walk away. You don't hear that about the dirt. Clint, there's people who cannot buy a tire to go dirt sprint car racing.
This is true. This is true.
People who want to come to the track cannot buy a tire. Why? Because they're not regular attendees. They don't have perfect attendance. They don't qualify to buy a tire. So when people bitch about the size of their tires not being what they wanted, and they're people that weren't even racing, like, go home. Buy a swimming pool, buy a set of golf clubs. It's freaking ridiculous. Bitching, I can see being upset, but going on social media to bash people that support the sport, what the hell's the point? Like, what do you benefit from that?
Well, the people they're bashing don't want to be in this position either. They want to be able to provide the tires and do everything they have to do. Look at on the dirt side, okay? From the dirt side, I had a driver call me today, a 360 driver, and say, hey, am I eligible for a tire? I asked him how many races they had. You know what he said? 7 races on my right rear tire right now. And he might be able to buy a tire. And he's a member driver with perfect attendance at all those events. That's how dire things are in the dirt world. And guys are still making it work. So that's pretty awesome.
And people are upset about it, but you don't see them going on social media. And I think it's a culture that you create. It just spins off each other. Right now, there are things on asphalt that aren't going great. I'm glad we're going to Sauble Speedway this weekend, because Sauble on the August long weekend is always an event. It's always a party.
Yep. Let's work on wrapping up Oshweekend, and then we can move into the rest of the deal. So anything that you want to get over Oshweekend, we do have an ad to play, and I want to show you some of the stuff we're going to be doing. So coming up for the Pinties 100 coming up. Here is a look at a VIP flyer we've got that you'll be seeing coming out across social media soon. We do have VIP packages for both the Monday and the Tuesday event. $75 and $95 get you some pre-race entertainment, a couple of bevies, and a good meal. So that we're excited to have that. We also will be giving this out in the coming days. This will be our NASCAR Week info guide. So it'll have all the information you need to know about our upcoming Pinty's 100 NASCAR Week. So we're excited about that. Spencer, if you can, roll the video. Let's see the ad.
For the first time ever on dirt, Canada's National Stock Car Series visits Oshweekend Speedway on August 16th. Witness history in the making as NASCAR's Pinty Series takes on the dirt in the Pinty 100.
Still lots of great tickets available. It's funny, we had a driver message me and say, is it true tickets are $170 to get in the pits? No, tickets are $45 to get in the pits each day. There at Osh Weekend, and $40 on the grandstand side. So we're excited about that. The names keep coming down. I actually had Stuart Friesen call me today and say, hey, man, we're still on for all this. We're getting ready to rock. That's exciting. Christopher Bell, Ken Schrader. I heard of another Osh Weekend driver getting in the mix alongside Dave Bailey today, but I'm not at liberty to say because the negotiations are – I got really inside information. They're telling me the – so hopefully we can bring you that information next week. Yep. The buzz is 30-ish cars right now, Adam, which everybody thought we were on crazy wine or some bad screech a couple of years ago when we said we could get to 30 cars, and it's pretty impressive to see that even some of the lower teams are renting out their third car.
Because I think you can make a car competitive. I really do. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I know there are some skeptics, but here's how I look at it, Clinton. They did this with the trucks at Eldora. The caliber of race car drivers in the trucks is as low as it gets in NASCAR Touring Series. Because there's a lot of kids that buy their way in, or Norm Bennings, or no disrespect, they're just not the caliber of Xfinity or Cup. They race trucks. In Canada, we've got a lot of elite level racers. Like your LP Dumoulins, your Alex Taglianis, your Andrew Rangers, your DJ Kenningtons. We do have a couple of young up-and-comers, but it just so happens that our old experienced fellas that are just out for a good time happen to be dirt racers. Glenn Stiers, Wallace Stacy, Brian Cathcart will have some challenges, but I think he'll get used to it. But by and large, I think Osh Weekend is the best dirt track in North America to have this race at. I think the Pinty Series cars are the best NASCAR-style car to run this race with. And I think we've got the best field of drivers. And the fact that you sort of stood up and made sure that it's green flag only laps that count, 3 segments in the race, like all the things that you would think your way through and say, we need it to be like this because this will make it a better show for the fans and it'll make it a better product for the drivers.
Yeah, it's exactly where we're at. The information pack we're giving out to the NASCAR Pinty Series teams tomorrow in Saskatoon says the NASCAR Pinty Series try a new surface and a new format. It's a traditional dirt show. Final practice times will set heat lineups for 10 qualifying heats. The finishes of those heats will determine the starting lineup for the Pinty's 100. The 100-lap feature will be 3 stages, 25, 25, and 50 laps in length, all green flag laps, and also on the card is the Action Sprinter and the Knights of Thunder for the 360s in the crate. So super excited about that. Lots of great tickets available. You can go to npsondirt.com. And what else
we had
need
37
to know?
crate sprint cars. 37 crate sprints last Friday. So I think you're going to have three classes of cars and over 100 cars in the pits. That's never happened. That has never happened in a NASCAR Pinty Series race.
And Christopher Bell both doing double duty. Stuart Friesen won the World of Outlaw race. Like, that guy came in and waxed Donnie Shaw, best of the best that year, and drove around them and made them look slow at Osh Weekend in his pregnant wife's car that she set up 8 months pregnant. Okay, the dude can get it.
Yeah.
Going to be a huge contingent of Ontario fans who are finally going to see Stuart. He hasn't been back to Canada, I don't think, since the pandemic started, Adam. So that's a huge deal right there. Christopher Bell came in and won the Summer Nationals a few years ago. That ride again, and he dazzled us when he beat 50 sprint cars that night to win the feature. I don't see how we don't have 45 to 50 sprint. The Patriots and the ESS have nothing going on those weekends. Neither do the Great Lakes sprints. None of our co-sanctioning. We have a better chance on the Monday, Tuesday for those nationals of drawing a better car count than we've ever had in the past because they had other things going on Saturdays.
What does Tuesday night pay for the sprint cars?
I think it's only 3.
So Monday is 10,000 or 12,000, and Tuesday is 3. So which is still fine because if you go for 2 days, you can win $15,000 if you win. Like that's what these racers look at.
And if you qualify Monday, it's $1,000 just for 30th place. So you're looking at minimum $1,250 if you can qualify both nights. Not a bad deal. And then you're also there to see history in the making with the NASCAR Pinty Series. We're super pumped about it. Last thing I want to touch upon.
Oh, Bob Wood. No. Oh, I think Clint might have frozen. Bob, I would agree with you if we were running wingless sprint cars, midgets, get on that cushion. I have enjoyed the racing so much when the top is worn out and they've been moving all over the race. The track by the end of the night is 60 feet wide in the corners, and they're moving all over the place looking for grip. The slide jobs and the racing has been phenomenal. The challenge I have when a cushion builds up, and we haven't seen it for quite a while this weekend, that's the only way to make speed. The only way to make speed is to get up there and put your foot down. So I love the way the track has been. I respect your opinion, of course. You've been around long enough to be entitled to it, but I love the fact that we haven't had a cushion.
The track is slick, and someone says it's even Shrek, who got a win a couple weeks ago. We got to throw a shout out to Shrek. He said the track's too slick. It's the new weekend, bud. It's flat, smooth, it's slippy. You gotta figure it out. It's changed, and that's the way it changed. Just one thing I want to mention in the fan guide here, we have all the parking layouts, all the camping, where the teams are going to stage and everything. But just want to mention on both nights we'll be having bands before and after the races. Albers asked what the Pinty's feature pays. It's $25,000 to win the Pinty's 100 for the NASCAR Pinty series, which is pretty freaking cool too.
By far,
the biggest, right?
By far the richest winner's purse in the history. I could be talking out my ass, but I think it's twice as much as the richest winner's purse previous. There were times you could make a lot of bonuses if you ran a Dodge. Dodge put a lot of contingency money in, but I don't know that the series has ever raced for this kind of money.
If there's any way you can camp with us that week, make sure you do. The midweek show, our fans tailgate before and after. You're going to want to make sure you're part of it. After Dark Pit Party Live, right after the races, feature a NASCAR autograph session, Ohsweken Speedway drivers meet and greet, concert featuring Juno Award winner Derek Miller, special guests, live interviews, some live stream celebrity interviews and well wishes. We're planning having a big food barbecue. Kingpin Farms World Championship geldings. We're trying to get the Burger Barn horses over there. Country fair style food and snack trucks. Have some campfires and then a dance party with quiet time at 3 a.m. So we are going to have a late night, both nights, late night racing and a late night party. So you're not going to want to go home with us. Make sure you check it out, npsondirt.com. That's all we got from Ohsweken tonight.
So to answer Northern Equipment Solutions' question, are the dirt drivers on an equal playing field when it comes to tires? No, they're absolutely not. But an old dirt tire can perform as well as an old dirt tire will get you to the races. It's not as big a deficit, but it's definitely not an even playing field. Clint, tell me I'm wrong.
Well, we're seeing, especially at Ohsweken, we see it not be as big of an issue. I mean, Travis Cunningham's here on the chat. I'd like to see him throw in his thoughts on the tire situation. I mean, not the tire situation, but tire consumption. Are you really able to get 5-6 nights out of it? I mean, we speculated they might have to do it. I haven't seen. Okay, we've watched a lot of dirt modified races from the States on Flow or Dirt Track Digest TV. How many times we see them tear that tread right? Nothing left. It's like a canvas cylinder, right? We have not seen that once around here this summer, and these guys are running 6-7 nights on tires.
Well, we've not seen it ever at Ohsweken.
No,
it's just not a surface that burns the rubber off of a tire. So really, the difference becomes, and again, Travis might be able to speak to this, is how much siping you can do to the tire. How much there comes a point where I don't think you can do as much prep work to a tire because there's not enough tread rubber left, and that's where I believe you would run into the shortfall.
So Travis comments he has a left rear that has 8 nights on it, still has life. Right rear is 4 to 5 nights. So that's still fairly cost effective in the world of racing, Adam. You're spending $50 a night on a tire, maybe 60, as they go up a bit. That's still pretty good consumption. But there is a big difference between what our dirt and dirt regular divisions are allowed to do with their tires and what the NASCAR Pinty Series teams are going to be allowed to do, which is absolutely nothing. Our teams can sipe, grind, prep, heat cycle, do whatever they want with these tires. These NASCAR teams are going to get these tires on the day of the race or the practice, basically of the day of the race. They can buy a practice set of tires if they want, but they have to qualify on a brand new set of tires. So when race day rolls around, they're going to have brand new tires that are hockey pucks. I can honestly say this is a bad choice of tire, and it's way above our pay grade. I feel for this, simply because we're not letting them do anything to them. It's going to be a hard, slick track, and it's going to be tough for these guys to pedal it. So the guys who can handle the slick dirt conditions are the ones who are going to be the ones who are going to be able to get it done here.
Yep. Yep. And Northern Equipment, like, again, I respect your opinion. Wrong size tires. So they're black and they're round. They're not ideal. I'll give you that. Is it okay? It's not ideal what's happened. What is not okay is going online and calling out the providers of the tires. Like, read a book, read a newspaper. The reason tire companies are not able to produce tires right now are so various. There's some of them that shut down the factories because of the pandemic. Other industry opened before the tire industry did. People took jobs elsewhere. So Firestone went to open their factories back up and their workers had left. So there's one reason some tires can't get made. The natural rubber shortage, the casing shortage, the nylon shortage. Like, there's so many things adding up. The point is, and my point, I want everyone to have exactly the size tire that they want to race on. But when it doesn't happen, standing up and bitching about it and having someone in the media call that out, what the hell is the point? What are you doing? What are you gaining by publicly bashing? It just makes everyone look like a bunch of douche knuckles. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, it's not ideal. It would be challenging. If they knew that tires were going to be 3 inches different in circumference than they expected, they should have let the teams know that Tuesday, because you could work that out with math. That's how these cars are set up. So no, I'm not saying it's ideal, but I'm not going to say it's not okay. It's not okay to cancel a race. That's what's not okay, because that would become a dangerous situation for the sport, having to shut down races because things weren't perfect. That's my opinion. I respect the fact that you disagree with me. I'm fine with that. But my issue is not that the tires and the tire size was okay or not okay. It was that someone in the media is airing dirty laundry. That what, for ratings? Because yeah.
No, I just mess around. I know it's a serious topic, but you're right. I mean, it's not. I can understand if it was their choice or their decision or their situation that they've created, but they haven't. They hate it just as much as everyone does. If there was some,
they're working at half profit. Sorry, Clint. If they can only sell, you sell less tires on race day than you do for testing. Think about that for a couple minutes. On a normal year, Mike McCall will buy more tires to test than he will to race, because you have to test a lot on asphalt to get the setup perfect. So here's a company who is selling 50% of the tires that they would want to sell. It's not what they want. Like, it's not like they had a meeting. Hey, how many teams can we screw this weekend?
Yeah,
it just poorly aimed bitterness. And I felt the need to stand up and say, come on, guys, like, go home, find somewhere else to vent your frustration. Don't do it here. And actually tagging the company in their posts, that accomplished a lot.
No, I hear you, man. Switching gears back to Ush Weekend just for a second. There's some questions asked. Yeah, Cliff, the idea is to keep this promotion train rolling. It's been pretty cool to have the Canadian Sprint Nationals paired up with the sprint cars are going to be on the national stage alongside with NASCAR Pinty's cars, and I think a lot of non-dirt fans are going to see how awesome the sprint cars really are at Oshweekend. So we're excited about that. Alvar said, let's regrade the track. Well, we know that doesn't really work. That tends to be a waste of time, and it gets right back to where it is sooner than it's worth. You're going to have in 10 minutes, you're going to be right back where you were when you wasted 40. We've learned in our history, if you haven't hit it at 6:30, you're not going to fix it at 8:30. Up and really rough, we can bust it up and pack it down. But if it's dry, it's dry. There's no way around that. The Maryville tape delay from the 16th, Richard, is going to air right after this show. We are a bit backed up. Spencer had a bit of vacation time as he's allowed because he works his balls off for us here on the G-Force end of things. Not to mention all the background stuff and repairing equipment and keeping us technically on the air. So Spencer's on a bit of a contingency plan. We have a backlog of captured video right now that we're trying to work on. We actually worked on a contingency plan to get the Oshweekend micro sprints that we've been capturing on Thursdays up. That's some more programming we've been working on that we've been trying to get edited and up on the air. But and then you and I haven't been able to help because we've been flying across the country. So there's not a lot we can really do to get that going. But we are endeavoring to get that. So Merrittville will be from the week before. And then we hope to have Merrittville from the previous week up as soon as possible, as soon as we can get the files downloaded, as we haven't even got that yet. So we're a bit behind. While we're on that thread, though, the plan is to capture all the races at Merrittville and Humberstone. This weekend will be live. G-Force Friday from Oshweekend and Saturday from Sauble.
And Jerry, you'll definitely be able to buy walk-up tickets. There's a lot of seating.
So last thing I want to mention about that is this question is about the hot lap challenge and the practices. So there will be a practice the Tuesday before, and then we'll have a practice on the Monday. They'll get regular hot laps at the end of our hot lap session on the Monday. That'll be session 1 for the NPS cars. And then at 9:30, we're having them come out right before, for 30 minutes, right before the 2 sprint car features. And they will be having a 30-minute session. And the drivers with the fastest 5 times at the end of session 2 will be awarded the hot lap challenge 5 payouts, $1,500, $1,200, $1,000, and so on down to $500 for 5th place. Help the guys with the tire bills for practice a little bit. And we want to thank Dave and Frank quick for jumping on board there. But yeah, so that's the idea, and excited to have that as part of the G-Force broadcast. We'll get a bit of NPS flavor on G-Force on Monday, so that's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And Richard, it's we would make the budget. We would make if we could clone Spencer, if we found someone with 20% of Spencer's ability. Money is not the issue. It's finding someone that's capable of doing it. We would make the budget. We would find the money. It's
we got lots of guys
manpower.
Who can eat twin hot dogs like Spencer does. He's a hot dog devouring machine, this guy. But yeah, nobody that's got the technical skills, or like we say, the 4th arms, because what they're affectionately called in the trailer production unit are the Octopus 1 and Octopus 2, because their arms are constantly going, trying to do stuff for us. And that's awesome. Man, going to another driver's pit, Adam. Bum, bum, bum. We've seen this a few times. This was a hot topic of discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah. We're going to end the show with this. I'm sure.
You want to wait?
No, I think this is going to take the rest of the show.
Okay, well, let's get into a couple other quick topics first, and then we'll go into this, okay? Because the Burger Barn video of the week kind of it all just kind of, we got a lot of scrapping going on at the end of the show, so let's just rifle them off. Spencer, hopefully I don't throw you off. Let's keep up. First up, let's look at the Freddie Raymer situation. So they get into an incident from 2 different angles. This is Freddie Raymer Jr. and Fred Sr., the Hall of Famer, getting into it with Danny Dietrich. Thanks to Dirt Vision for the clip.
And again, it was a 3-car battle for 2 transfer spots as they worked their way down the backstretch. Dietrich, a quick peek to the inside. Between the front of Dietrich,
he flipped him.
And the back of Raymer's number 8 sends Raymer flipping side over side. Again, the good news, Freddie Raymer uninjured in that altercation.
So there he is walking back. And then they push Danny Dietrich in, and things get a bit crazy.
I think Danny Dietrich was under power, wasn't he? Like he was driving his car, or was it?
And that's Freddie Raymer, his dad there in the gray hair and the shades. And they push Dietrich right into the situation here. He's gonna
Which,
get
I mean,
brought
they
into
have
it.
to. They're like, it's not
Yeah.
like there's another route.
Oh, sorry, there's Freddie Raymer there. And
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Yeah,
right here, I was wrong there. I know he was on the scene. Yeah, it's him with the jeans and
the jean shorts. And I think he just motioned to Junior to step back.
Okay, so here
he
they're
had some
stopping
business.
Dietrich, and they both jump him.
We've got a conflict in the pits between Fred Raymer and Danny Dietrich.
Run the other
Kudos
angle
to-
if you can.
Kudos to Johnny Gibson for calling it.
Okay. So this is the only
So,
angle we have, but
Here
it kind of
brings up
fizzles
our
out there.
point
But
Things getting wild in the pit area
that
after the dramatic conclusion of heat
if they wait until Dietrich is back in his pit before they approach him, you're going into enemy territory. So the fact that they stopped him on pit road was probably better for everybody. Because you go into their pit stall, I've got different opinions there that we'll get to, Clinton, but that was quite something.
now, I'm trying to think what else we had on that line of things. The Bowman Gray video. Let's play that one, Spencer, and then we'll discuss how all these situations come about. Bowman Gray, is it a setup, Adam? I'm feeling more and more like this is a wrestling deal, man. These guys got to be getting paid money. We had a lot of talk at the airport about this too. To me, it seems like, I don't know. I've never seen racers act like this, and I know it's a different era, but it's different. To me, it seems set up, and I'll give you my conspiracy theory why I think these guys are being paid to wreck cars like this. So roll that one, Spencer. So he's already got into him once. Now, why is the 28 in the infield at all? For starters, that's my argument. So I'm of the opinion these guys are told to put it on in the infield.
Yeah.
And who's this? This is the guy from Dale Jr.'s talking, right? This is Dillner.
Oh,
Matt
I don't know.
Dillner, I think, is the announcer there, and it just.
I like the second official that just comes up and kind of taps the car like Zach Galifianakis in what movie was that in? But like you say, Clinton, now people that have been around a long time might know the name Mike Paris. He was with Advance Auto Parts back in the time that they sponsored the Super Dirt Series. And he is on a modified pit crew team that races at Bowman Gray. I had a great talk with him last week because I wanted his opinion. And he said, while it looks spectacular what goes on, it's very clear that what is allowed to go on the front stretch is not allowed in the pits. So they do encourage, if you've got beefs, if you've got issues, you take them out in the infield. As soon as you go back to the pits, it's hands off.
You look at these cars, though. Could you see the APC drivers cars like this on purpose week after week? It just doesn't make sense to me. Even the richest guys I know are not this foolish. They have to be getting these cars paid for or sponsored. And granted, they're packing 17,000 people in there, but so does wrestling at Maple Leaf Gardens in 1982. And I'm just of the opinion that there's a little too much setup going on there. That if you see the whole video, and there's another video of that, the whole video. So he's already hit him once when we pull into that video. But the 28, if you've already been taking a swing at once, you're not going to pull right down the middle, kind of come over where he can clearly hit you in front. It just, I don't know. I never felt racing was set up before in my life till I saw that. You know?
So here's my take on it. I want to learn more. Whether it's go to Bowman Gray and experience, like I want to know more before I pass judgment. But I can see what you're saying. It's suspicious.
we just see it week after week, and I get it. Once a year we see a driver lose their cool and they get pissed off. And I mean, things have been getting heated up at Ushweek, and I don't want to. Let's not speak specific names, but a few of the
No.
crate drivers have been getting out of hand this week, and we had two different situations where drivers did go down to other drivers' pits, and you know how to talk about it. So the rule's not just cut and dry. If you walk into someone's pit, you're going to be suspended, because we had two situations like that in the sprint cars at Ushweekend. And so let's look at, first off, one situation. I get a message that there's a fight in the pits. So I rated over to our officials, hey, one of you guys better go down there. I'm hearing there's a tussle. Our official goes down there, talks to one team. Team says, no, nothing happened. Goes to the other team. The other team says, yeah, nothing happened. We didn't see it. We know there was a fight because we got messages about it, but another team, no team wants to rat on the other, and we don't have video footage of it. What do we do?
Well, number one, calling something a fight. To me, a fight requires either a punch thrown or a wrestling move executed. The only time a fight is a fight without a punch is if someone grabs somebody and throws them over with a hip toss or something like that. A fight requires a punch or an act of physical violence.
Shirt grabbing?
No,
is that physical violence?
That's nothing. That's nothing.
I'm sorry, though. You put your hands on anybody else, that's violence.
Nah.
Ooh, you'd be surprised.
Some people talk with their hands. If I'm talking with my hands and your shirt falls in it, so be it.
No, you should never.
So here's my take. Here's. Do you want to finish your thought? My thought is fairly brief, but
go ahead.
When you walk into someone else's pit after a race, it is no longer up to you how you leave that pit. So Clint, say you're mad at me. You walk into my pit to talk. I don't like what you have to say. So I punch you in the mouth and throw you out of my pit. How can I be penalized because you came down to start shit with me? It's if you go into someone else's pit, you are at their mercy. Whatever happens during that time, they can't be blamed for it.
I tend to disagree. I see where you're coming from. In an overall position, I see where you're coming from. That would be easy if it was cut and dry. But I have had to referee and officiate enough of these battles to realize it's not that cut and dry in my past 15 years. And here's what I'm saying. So if I come into your pit stall and calmly say, hey, man, what happened? You ran over me there. You totally wrecked my night. And you just punched me in the face. That ain't right either. At what point are we allowed to have a gentleman's conversation? You can't just attack me. Now, it all depends on how I come in there. But if I come in there politely and say, hey, man, can we talk about the situation, and you just hook me, that's not as cut and dry as you said it.
How it should happen is to go to a separate area. And I said 20 years ago, when I was working at Ushweekend in more of an official's role, I said, look, if you want to call me an asshole, you want to scream and swear and run me up and down, go ahead, but take me somewhere. We'll walk out into a field. We'll walk somebody out. Well, that's different. That's different. And what I'm saying is, if you cuss me out in the middle of the tech barn, I have to do something. So with all the video cameras that we have going on, I've got my opinion on how that works going into people's pit. But with all the video cameras that are going on, if you walk into my pit, no matter what you say, and the camera just shows me punch you in the mouth, Clint, the track manager has to throw me out. I punch someone in the mouth. It's unacceptable. So what I'm saying contradicts itself because I'm looking at one from an official side, one from a racer's side. But the third person has to look at it from the fact that there's a drone up there. There's a documentary crew filming a documentary in this place, and we've got cameras everywhere, and you've got everyone with cell phones. So if a track has a rule of no fighting, and someone can produce video, even if both parties says we didn't fight, if there's a video that shows them fighting, you have to take action. It's the unfortunate thing.
I hear you, man. And, it's the same thing with technical infractions. We never suspend anybody. If everybody could just play by the rules and play nicely, we could all have a good time. And then we don't have to be, as my dad would say, a bigger asshole, and I hate that way, but sometimes we have to do that. I mean, two of those situations you talked about. So, for example, I know another driver who walked into another driver's pit Friday night after, said a little beef, got his piece off, walked away. I got to talk to the other side of that team today, and I said, was that driver out of line? They said, no, that was warranted and well respected, and the message was accepted and understood. And, so that's a
Yep.
case of one driver walking into another one, angry, but got the message across without physical altercations. And
Look,
it's
right.
so objectionable. It's hard. Just drivers, don't put us in that position. That's what we ask.
That's exactly it. Don't. So Travis Cunningham's a great example because I don't think I've seen him fight at a racetrack. And the example you were just given, I know that driver, and everyone on the track knows that driver. That driver's not going to fight. If they come into your pit, he's going to say something smartass or poignant fairly quick, and he's going to bugger off. And I'm sure that crew knew that. So take what the driver says. The driver turns around and walks away. Like they almost knew it wasn't going to escalate. They didn't escalate it. The driver didn't escalate it. But sometimes it does escalate. But my point is, if you walk somewhere that's not your pit, I know it's a free country. But when you go to the races, your pit area is a safe place. The tech barn is a safe place. Everywhere else is not your business. You go somewhere that's not your business, bad shit can happen.
No, you're not wrong.
So that brings us back to your point, like the issue that you had at the tech barn, where the wrong person was speaking in the wrong way to the two most powerful people at the racetrack. That's a bad idea.
It was a crew, whatever you want to call it, was right up in the face of Doug, and we had to ask him to leave. And the driver's the sole spokesperson for the crew. So, don't get upset with me if I won't talk to your grandmother, your girlfriend, your brother, your dad. We tried to coddle them all. We really do try to give all those answers. And if you come at us politely and then your girlfriend comes at us politely, we'll politely tell you the situation. We have no problem explaining our side. But when you come guns blazing, the only one who's allowed to come guns blazing is the driver. And, and like you said, Adam, is let's go for a walk. And I had to talk with that team who's semi-representative, let's say, was upset. And I said, hey, you can ask us to go anywhere and you can call me anything you want because we can take it. But exactly what you said, and we've lived by that credo for 20 years at Oshweekend is, you're right. You come in to make a scene, I have to take action. But if you take me back and say, hey, can we go talk? And then you call me every name in the book, I'm all right with that. I may call you some back too.
And I've I've been called a lot of names, and you walk it off. So it is a tricky situation, but I think something needs to be done at Oshweekend because not everyone is on the same page. I think a drivers meeting needs to be held and say, hey guys, this is what the rule book says. And if all these cameras, even if all of you want to have a fight, like if all of you are consenting adults, that does not negate the fact that the rule book says you're not allowed to fight. So even if everyone
100%.
says I didn't do it. So, but I think that message, because it's not out of control. But, and there was a point there about,
go ahead.
There was a point there about retaliation on the racetrack, either under yellow or after a race. And that is also a problem. Right. And that's, you need to nip that in the bud. So that this is not how this is going to go down.
No, we had plans to talk to the drivers that we had issues with last week. We'll have a calm talk. I think overall the drivers need the speech that I gave at the banquet when I became the manager, which was, if you guys all pull on this rope together with us in the same direction and don't throw shit at each other, we can build an amazing thing, which we have done astoundingly in the past 5 years. We are live every week. We've got more sponsor opportunities. There's more car counts. There's more fans. There's more opportunities at Oshweekend Speedway than any place here in Canada right now, and I'll say that proudly as the manager. If you continue to screw shit up, we're not going to have these advantages anymore. And I think we have some of the new teams that came in after that speech was given, how far we've come in the past 6 years, and need to be sat down and realize, look at what we're trying to do here is not look like idiots. Like, let's keep it together. Let's keep it pro, because like you said, Adam, you never know when a powerful person and the CEO of a national brand could be standing right beside you because it happens every day at Oshweek Speedway. Some of the most powerful people don't look powerful, and you don't know who's standing there beside you watching you be an absolute ass and
Mhm.
piss away that opportunity of a golden deal, because I can say we have more CEOs hanging around Oshweek Speedway than we ever have. We had Steve Sterling up from Champion Oil. He drove from Buffalo as a major oil company executive just because he'd heard how great things were at Oshweek, and sent me a message the next day and said, whatever we have to do to get involved, we want to. So we're working on a deal with Champion Oil. And, like I said, I mean, look at a guy like Tony Spiteri. Who would ever think he's hanging around there half the time? If you don't know what Tony is, you don't realize all the stuff he's done for motorsports around. And it's crazy. So,
Yep. And Alvar said it right. Stay in your pit. You're
yeah.
like, that is, and we sometimes don't remember that, Clinton, but I'm very serious. You have a pit stall. That is your locker room. You don't see a lot of Buffalo Bills wandering around the hallway or up at the concessions getting a burger, or over in the visitors' locker room. They go into their locker room. That's where they live before the game, after the
Let's take
game.
that a step further. I was watching an East Coast Hockey League clip, and the one guy was stretching and had his skate an inch across the red line, and they were ready to scrap over it because
Yep.
right? It was like, you
And
stay on
it's
your side of the red line.
racing has gotten so polite in some places, and when you've got a track with, say, the hobby cars that we race, there are 12 cars on the weekend. You don't want to get too bitter. You really need all those 12 cars, so it's kind of like a community. Let's make this work. You get 40 sprint cars fighting for 24 spots, and you piss up a rope. There's still a ton of camaraderie. It's still amazing, but you do see where tempers will flare a bit more, because one move can ruin someone's night. They don't get to race in the feature, and it doesn't have to be an egregious move or a horrible wreck. You just inconvenience somebody, put them in the back of the B main, and they don't get in.
Sauble this week. Let's set that up. First up, before we get to that, Oshweekend has late models this weekend in the vintage cars. Crates are off, and we're excited to have all those classes in. It's going to be a great night at the Big O. Make sure you come on and check it out. 360s are still on the card with the late models, the Thunder cars, and the vintage cars. So mini stocks and crates are off. Humber Zone has a big weekend, 2 doubleheaders, Saturday and Sunday. Merrittville has Saturday, Monday, different classes of both tracks on Saturday. We're heading to APC at Sauble Adam Beach. What do they need to know about that place? Why should they make the trek up there to watch the Ontario's hottest late model tour? The APCs up there getting it done.
Why should you go? Because you should leave in the middle of the morning. Don't get up too early, but get up at a decent hour, drive up there, enjoy the beach. There's so much to take in. Just relax, feel the cottage country, and then go to the races that night. Sauble's a great place. Everything happens right in front of you. Like, no matter where you're sitting, you feel like you're right in the center of the action. It always has a special event feel to it up at the beach. So I would, to anyone who hasn't been, go. In fact, Civic Holiday Weekend was the first time I ever went to Sauble Beach. I think I was 15 or 16. Rode up with my dad and our sponsor, Roy Bryden, because the TQ Midgets always ran on the long weekend. There's just something special about this weekend. That's when you should experience Sauble Beach. Go up there and take in the show. How many? I would imagine there'll be. I would think there'd be a couple less cars maybe than they had at Flamborough. I'll bet you they'll have 20 cars. That's only a guess. The tire situation might keep one or two people away. Blair Wickett had an expensive problem at Flamborough, so I don't know if he'll be able to get it fixed. And then you'll usually pick up maybe one or two. I don't know if Tim Ellis is going to race, but it's just a good experience to go to Sauble Beach on this specific weekend.
Yeah, you're right. We saw a clip there. Some great racing. It's a beautiful spot. Don't know if Adam's going to make the beach. Doesn't think he's going to make it this weekend. But yeah, wherever
What do you
you're
mean?
hanging out.
You already said I'm not allowed.
Yeah, I was trying to keep the suspense in case somebody was going to tune in on Saturday to see you in your bikini, in your mankini.
Now we're going to send someone better to the beach. I think we're sending Abby to the beach, so we'll be able to see much cooler highlights than when I was there.
Awesome. Yeah, the Eastern Late Model Alliance rolls into us weekend. Ken Kelly was asking. I think we'd have probably about 20 cars, maybe 24 late models. Depends on how many cars from the West show up. But, maybe 18 to 22, if I had to guess. Off the top of my head, we'll have a great show, though. Excited to get the late models back. They've always put on a great show last weekend. I'm excited to see what they can do on this slick track that's been it's going to be a great night there. Don't forget Club 54 sponsors tonight. Want to make sure that right. And the vintage cars, their only appearance. So if you're into the old vintage cars, the vintage modified, it's the Dirt Nostalgia Tour, Dirt Modified Nostalgia Tours in town. So super cool. Don't forget npsondirt.com. Check out all the info you need for the Pinty's 100 coming up. Like I said, if there's any way you can camp with us, make sure you do. The powwow was there, Adam. They packed the place while we were away.
I heard.
All of the all the parking lots were full. We had a debrief session on Monday with the powwow committee, and they're here to stay. They had a great time, and we'll continue to make improvements. So anybody who's at the powwow last weekend, we do have plans to make things better, cooler, stronger, and more sustainable for the future there. It was awesome.
And just for the peanut gallery, if I go to the beach in Sauble, I'm a tax-paying Canadian. I'm taking my top off. I'm going tats out at the beach. I'm allowed.
Yeah, I already told you can't go, and the rest of Sauble is welcome. So we will see you up there. We appreciate everybody sticking with us through all our craziness. We have a flight to catch at 6 a.m. to Saskatoon. Hopefully you watch us live on TSN Go, and Flow Racing tomorrow will be live at, I believe, 8, 7, 8 time around here. I don't know. I'm all messed up on my times.
Thank you, Spencer.
8 Eastern. The flights,
6 a.m. flight. We'd have to leave for the airport shortly. 8 o'clock.
Yeah, well,
Isn't that what you meant, Spencer?
We got to be at the airport at 6:30. Then, do we not?
Well, you better get there at 5 because you're going to have a panic attack when you can't figure out where to park and you've never seen a monorail before.
Hey, man, that was a screwed up deal. Okay. Thank you for talking me off the ledge, Uncle Adam. But that was weird, man. I was worried I was going to miss my flight. Okay. We have 1 minute left. Why don't we tell them why I couldn't find anywhere to park? Because I couldn't find my pickup truck in anything that was tall enough to get into a parking spot, and you drove your truck right through it and knocked.
Hey, I don't know what you. We don't talk about these things.
No.
Full send.
We had a good time. So. Monorail tomorrow, monorail later. Not sure. It was planes, trains, and automobiles, but we're up on it.
Hey, what did you have to pay to park? What did you pay when you got out?
Damn, I don't even know. I think it was around $75. It's usually
it was 72 for me. So I'm going to try the discount parking where you can get on the monorail at the end and see if we can't do this a little bit cheaper. But if you've got Flow Racing, tune in tomorrow night from Saskatoon. Fun track. Racing is always good.
Yeah, we'll be live tomorrow night, Friday night, and Saturday night. Make sure you check it out. Thanks, Spencer, for everything you do. We'll talk to you soon.
Keep those opinions coming. Every opinion matters.